evening, everybody. Hi there, everyone. Just letting everybody join. You can stay on mute, that would be awesome. To see everyone join us. Hi there. Good evening, everyone. Nice to see you. If you can just make sure that you're muted for us, that would be awesome. Right. Good evening. Well, let's kick this off. Good evening, everyone. Nice to see you. My name is Kate Lowe, and thank you for joining us this evening to talk about something that I'm really excited about and very passionate about. Over the last few months, it's totally changed my life and my health, and I want to share that with you because I think today everybody is looking for ways to get healthier and to take care of themselves. So it's great to see you joining us. And what I will say is, as I finish up today, and I shouldn't be too long, I've got a little bit of a presentation to go through. When I have finished, please do get back to the person that asked you to watch this evening, because they'll be able to give you some more information about the program and what we're doing with it all over the world, really, but in the UK for me, and Scandinavia, in South Africa, and pretty much all around the world, as I see people joining us from various different places. So it's great to have you with us. Bear with me for a second while I share my screen. Look, you'll soon learn about me. Technology is not the easiest thing for me to do, so you'll have to just bear with me a minute while I find my presentation. Here we go. Fantastic. So welcome to HealthPointe Explained. And I'm really excited about it because it's a program that I've been using for the past few months. I got introduced to it in about June last year and started on the program. I was at a point in my life where things were really not good. I had for quite some time been gaining weight and really wasn't taking care of my health. Various different circumstances. I had several children. I have several children. And the last one I had at age 47, so quite late on in my life. And I had never ever lost the baby weight from that point. And then my mum passed away, and grief and all that emotion just drove me towards trying to bury my bad feelings and my grief in alcohol and naughty foods, right? All of those sweets and chocolates and cakes that I really logically knew I shouldn't have been eating, but kind of couldn't help myself. And I did it because I just needed to feel better. And it was a momentary feeling better. And then essentially I just knew that I felt worse. So I just didn't know how to get myself out of this rut that I was stuck in, until I was sitting talking to some friends of mine, and they were telling me how they had used the program. And of course, she was super fit anyway. She was a personal trainer, and I was like, yeah, but you don't need it. She said, no, you have no idea. I didn't understand about how the body works. And she'd actually lost 20 pounds herself and totally reduced her body fat percentage. And I thought, okay, maybe I actually need to listen to this and take it seriously and see what's on offer. And so I came to this just like you guys tonight, wanting to know more and to kind of give it a go and see where I got to. So I started, and it's been a little bit of a roller coaster, as everything has, and you know, life gets in the way sometimes, but that's life. But what I've noticed over the last few months have been some incredible results. To date, I've lost 43 pounds, which is a little over, it's just about 3 stone in weight for those of us in the UK. But I have more energy, I sleep better, I do exercise, which is something I didn't do before, but not in the gym exercise, just walking, just making sure that my body is moving, and getting out and getting fresh air, setting that mindset right and being out in nature. The other thing that it's really changed is my mindset. I've really learnt about my body. I've really learnt about how what I put in is really driven by how I think. And so this program, through an incredible process and system, has managed to change my mindset as well. So I'm really excited about it. As I said, have had some incredible results. And I just want to share the program with you this evening to see if it resonates a little bit with you. And then maybe you can get back to the person that invited you to watch for some more information. So here we are, and I think this is the same all around the world. You know, we really are in this sort of this health crisis, and people are becoming aware, and they're looking for answers. And of course, there are various different options out there. But 65% of adults in the UK are overweight, and 29% of those people are obese. And it doesn't take much to fall into those categories, but of course, we know the dangers of those, and we know that along with those challenges come many different health problems. And I don't need to go into those details. It's all out there. You just have to be aware. And I think most people are today. And of course, a lot of us decide that we need to do something about it. So we go on a diet. And if you've ever been on a diet, and trust me, I have tried everything from the two W's to the SW to the eating nothing but steak and butter to eating nothing all day and fasting and just drinking water and then eating God knows what later. I have tried everything. And what I've experienced, and you can only look at your experience, is that diets don't work. So we need a new solution, and we need to find something that truly works. For me, that was a re-education and an easy, simple program to follow that, educated me about my health. And what we know is that many of us try different diets, and I hate using that word, but most of us regain the weight within 1 to 5 years. And that, I think, is even more in the media today, as many of us turn towards, different weight loss things, not just diets. Maybe there are pills today, maybe there are injections, and we try all of these different things. But what we now know is that, most people, 80 to 95% of dieters regain that weight within 1 to 5 years. And that's certainly been my experience. I've done something, a program, shakes, restrictive food, whatever, and it all comes back on, and usually some more. So we know these things don't work. So for me, I really was looking for a solution. I just didn't know if I could do it. I didn't know if I believed enough in myself to really give it a go. But I made a promise to my friend that I would try and that I would do the best I possibly could. And she promised me in return that she would help me. So that's where I started. And one thing she told me about was that, diets, the reason diets fail are multiple, but primarily because of biology. We have cravings. I know that because I would drink wine, that would make me eat chocolate, and that was, a nightmare. It was this vicious circle, right? And then obviously many of us, as we get older, especially for us women, as hormones change and our metabolism changes as we age, the biology doesn't help us, particularly as we get older or as we hit menopause for us ladies. And so biology is not helping us in life. So maybe we need to think about those things. But then we need to think about here, what is the psychology behind dieting? And I know that because, I could hold it together. I could be restrictive for a period of time, and then something would happen. Somebody would say, oh, go on, just one cake. It won't hurt you. And then all of a sudden it's gone and everything goes back on. Sometimes it's that mindset around just, it's all or nothing, and that short-term focus. all put together with biology, the environment, stress, and various different emotions, and maybe not having somebody to be accountable to, because sometimes it's easy to let ourselves off. We can say we can be accountable to ourselves, but then we are the easiest person to make an excuse to. Yeah, I'll just eat that bar of chocolate and tomorrow I'll walk more, right? Or, I'll just have that glass of wine and then I won't have any for a week, right? We've all been there, but sometimes that lack of accountability is the one thing that is holding us back from being successful. So I don't know where you are, and if you've struggled with your health, maybe some of these things are resonating. So why HealthPoint? Why is this a holistic approach to weight loss and health? And it's not a diet. It really is this overall picture of our body and our health. And I say our because it's going to be yours. This is my journey, my health point, my weight loss, my health. And, I know there's a lot of people who don't necessarily need to lose weight, but they just need to get healthy because, there can be a lot of people who don't carry weight, but maybe they have health issues or they're struggling with visceral fat in and around their major organs. So it's not just about weight loss. This is about creating healthy habits in a holistic way. So we're looking at the whole body and the whole person. And what I found is that HealthPoint really helped to manage my cravings. It controlled my hunger because I was actually eating more frequently than I'd ever done in any other program. I was never hungry. And that really helped me to build healthy habits. Now, at the beginning, I wasn't great at it, and I had to really learn some of those other things to get those habits in the right place. But those are the things that really helped me. It also has really helped me to change my thinking. And I think it's that change of thinking that I feel like I can really see that long-term success. I feel like I've got a handle on this now. And if I go off course, because, Christmas happened, right? That was life. Christmas happened here in my house. But I knew because of my thinking, I had something that was easy to come back to and that I could get back to thinking the right way and putting the right things into my body. And then, of course, the accountability. I personally have my friend who's my personal coach through this process. And, if you decide that this is something that you'd like to pursue and get healthier, then you'll have a personal coach too. And along with that personal coach, you'll have a little group of people who are there to support you. And that I found invaluable. Every other thing I'd ever done in the past, I was on my own. It was down to me, and there was nobody saying, you can do it, you're on track, or, maybe don't do that next time, try this. And I'd never had that before. So to have this little group of people who were there to support me, that I was accountable to, that I couldn't let down, absolutely helped me to stay focused and on track. And then there's a massive community behind this. We have a big community spanning multiple countries around the world where we all are on the same path together. And I'll explain a little bit more about that just now. So what is the program? What's it about? Well, the essentials, they come down to four things. Snacking. Whoever would have thought we're talking about a diet and we're going to talk about snacking? As I said to you, I've never eaten more frequently on a program than I do on the HealthPoint program. And that's because we snack every 60 to 120 minutes on protein-rich, low-fat and low-carb snacks. And that helps us to manage our hunger and our cravings, and it fuels our metabolism. That's what I've noticed, is that this rush of energy and my body just feeling so much better because it's got fuel to run on, and that means it burns fat, and that excites me. I supplement, and that's part of the program too, because whenever you think about food, even if you're eating a balanced diet, depending on where you are in the world and what government decides what a balanced diet is, even if you're eating fruit and veg and protein and grains and a whole range of different foods, you most likely have some nutritional gaps. And that's simply because today, unless you're growing the food in, and producing it in your own garden, in your own home, most of that is lost. Most of it's lost in poor soils that food is grown in, or transport or storage. All of those things affect the nutrition of food. And so part of the program is to bridge that nutritional gap with high quality plant based food supplements that just fill that gap. So that would be part of the program too. And I find that absolutely fascinating, and it's really educated me on what I was missing before. Then there's moving. And as I said, this is not going to the gym and running on a treadmill for 2 hours, or rowing to, across the English Channel. No, this is just walking 10 to 15,000 steps a day, and having a goal to do 5,000 of those before breakfast if you can. And the reason for that is because if you can get up and you can get 5,000 in before breakfast, it kind of sets up your day. It boosts your fat burning, it boosts your metabolism, and it really gets you going first thing in the morning. And I know part of the community that I walk with, some of them are in the very north, up in Sweden and in Norway, that are out walking in -15 in the thick snow and ice. And here we are in the UK and we're going, oh, it's raining, I don't want to go out. But there's something magical about being outside and just breathing that fresh air, but getting that exercise in. So you don't need to do intense workouts, you just need to walk. And if 10,000 seems like a long way away, we'll start where you're at and we'll work towards 10,000. Then the final sort of part to the program, I believe, is the most important part, and that is changing your thinking. It's learning a different mindset. It's learning about how different foods affect your body. And we're all individuals and we all react to food in a different way. It's changing our habits. One thing I had to learn to do was to remind myself to eat. I'd got so stuck in the mindset and the habit of not eating all day, that was not helping my body. It wasn't giving it any fuel to burn. And so what I had to do is I had to set an alarm every 60 to 90 minutes to eat something, and to be prepared to have that food ready. So I wasn't going, oh, what's in the cupboard? Oh, there's a packet of biscuits. No, that in the fridge are my protein snacks, and I'm ready to go with it. So it's a real lifestyle shift, and really learning how to change your thoughts around food and around health. And so it's been a journey for me, and I just want to share that with you. So where does it kind of start? Well, you've got to know your starting points, and you've got to set some goals. Like anything, you're starting here and you want to know where you are. And most of us, we have dreams of, oh gosh, I see that picture of myself when I weighed this, and that was 5 years ago, and I'd like to get back there. Well, yeah, that's the goal. That's where you want to get to. And we've got to record where you're starting now. So we've got to figure that out. Maybe we're going to take the first step where taking some photographs of where you're starting is the most uncomfortable thing. I have to say, taking my pictures and sending them to my coach was so uncomfortable. I cannot explain to you, but it's so valuable because I can look back at those pictures now, and whilst I might not be able to see the difference in the mirror, quite, looking at myself, because there's something weird goes on in your brain, when I look at those before photos, I can see the difference, and I can go, yeah, absolutely, I notice it. So we need to make sure we know where we're starting from, and then we're going to set some goals and know where we want to get to. And of course, it's really important to know why you're going to start. It's like everything in life. You're never going to do anything unless you know why you're going to do it, right? For some of us, it'll be to get healthy. For some of us, it might be to get off various different medications. For some of us, it will be to lose weight. For some of us, it will just be maybe to learn something new, and to help other people, because whatever it is that you're looking for, this is something you'll be able to discuss with your coach when you get started, and they'll have a process to do that. Then it's about being accountable. I said, to let myself off the hook, to give up on myself, is a kind of easy thing to do, but to be accountable to every single day to my coach is invaluable. It's so powerful to be able to send in what I ate the day before, to say what I weighed that morning, and to say the number of steps that I've did the day before, so my coach can see what the progress and what I'm doing, and maybe say, well, maybe you should try this different food instead of that one, that might work better for you. And that gives me encouragement. It makes me feel good, it makes me feel safe, and it most importantly makes me feel supported and never on my own. And that's so powerful when you're starting out on something new. Obviously, we want to track and review our progress as we go along. So your coach will encourage you to re-measure. And, if you've got some of these smart scales where you can track your body fat and your muscle mass and all of those amazing measurements, or maybe it's just an ordinary measuring tape round your waist or round your hips or your chest or your arms or your legs, but re-measure, because sometimes the weight doesn't necessarily drop, but your measurements do. And that's as you're burning fat, but maybe building muscle that replaces the weight. And you're going to track and review all of that progress with your coach, who has, experience in the program and can help you to adjust if necessary. Then you're going to take some progress photos so that you can compare them with those really uncomfortable first starting pictures, and you'll be able to celebrate your success along the way. And at the end of each cycle, you'll be able to set a new goal. Now, each cycle is 6 weeks long, and there's a process to that, and I'll talk a little bit more about that as we get there. But every day we want to be thinking, starting to change our thinking. And how do we do that? Well, there's daily media to do that. Some come in written messages, some come in a small video message, some come in a podcast or an audio to listen to. And that's designed to reset your thinking, to educate you about the HealthPointe program, to educate you about food, to educate you about water. My goodness, did I understand about how the importance of drinking pure, clean water? No, I didn't. Neither did I understand the importance about drinking enough water. So, it will teach you to reset your thinking. And that for me was the most powerful part of the program. And then we have lots of community events such as this, just what we call a Health Point Explained. And then every week we do 2 walk and talks on a Monday morning at 6 a.m. in the UK, that's 7 in Scandinavia, and 8 a.m. in South Africa, because I know some of you are joining us from there. We all get together, and there's lots and lots of us. You can see the picture there, out there walking in the snow, in the sunshine, in the rain, just getting those 5,000 steps in before breakfast on a protein day, because every Monday is a protein day, and that's powerful because you feel supported. You're not walking out there by yourself. You have a whole community who shares their experience and their tips. And we do the same on a Saturday morning at 7 a.m. UK time, 8 a.m. Scandi time, and 9 a.m. in South Africa. And at that point, we all walk, but we share a health story. So one of the coaches has a chat with someone that they've been coaching on the program, and that person gets an opportunity to tell their story. And those are so powerful. They're so inspiring as you listen to people talk about how they've totally changed their life, how they've lost weight, how they've, helped other people to do the same. So they're powerful community events. So something to be a part of and feel encouraged and supported along the way. And then we teach you, once you've reached your optimal weight, then when you've reached your optimal weight goal, then we'll teach you how to maintain it. Because most diets, they teach you to lose weight, but they never teach you how to stay there and how to maintain it. And we want to make the program essentials a daily habit, and that's how you maintain it, that it just becomes part of your life, and you throw yourself into the environment and the community, and that becomes part of your life. And so this is something that you feel that you never want to leave behind. And so we'll teach you how to transition your food so that you can maintain your optimal weight for life, because that's what we want to do. We want you to set those goals and continue to reset those goals throughout your life, that becomes a habit and something that you do forever, because that can only be a positive benefit. So a little bit more about a little bit more detail, and I'm going to whiz through this as quickly as I can. But the 6-week cycle is broken down into these parts. So we start off with preparation days, and there's 5 of them. There's some things for you to do in those 5 days. And we're going to help you to complete those tasks, watch some videos, maybe get a step tracker and some digital scales if that's something you need to do, maybe to clean out your cupboards and the fridge. Eat all of those things that you're not going to be eating on the program, and start to switch the way that you think about doing your shopping and be prepared for those first few days on the program. And then we're going to get into our first 3 days properly on the program. And those 3 days are constant snacking throughout the day, every 60 to 120 minutes, on those protein rich, low fat, low carb snacks. And our goal is to limit your carbs those 3 days to help your body to start that fat burning process and to reset during those 3 days. We're going to keep our carbs ideally under 50 each day. And you're going to choose food from the food list, which is available on the HealthPointe app. And you can prepare all those friendly recipes that are available on there, or you can just keep it simple and stick to some of those simple foods. And that protein day mentality continues throughout the cycle, because every week, every Monday is a protein day. And we'll come back to that as we get through. So you start with 3 protein days to reset your body, to reset your metabolism, and to get that fat burning going if you need to lose weight. But it's the first 3 days where you'll start to feel a real change in your body. Then we'll move on to the weight loss days, and they're days 4 through to 28. And this continues the process of weight loss. And the key is snacking. Snacking is a program essential. Every 60 to 120 minutes, you're going to snack from the protein list. And you're going to then choose the right foods, ones that you like from the food list, that include the serving size and the carb count that you can see below. For breakfast, we talk about having 1 serving from the protein list and 1 serving from either the grains list or the fruit list. Not both, one or the other. That's for your breakfast. So it might be something like an egg on a piece of whole grain toast. And then we're going to snack, right, every 60 to 120 minutes. And then we go on to lunch, which is 1 protein serving, 1 fruit serving, 2 cups of lettuce, and a vegetable serving. So you get a real plate of food, all real food, no ultra processed food, food that has come from the ground or from the farm, and it's ready for you to eat. Just absolutely fantastic, real food. And then you're going to snack all the way through the afternoon, and you're going to eat the same for dinner. And then if you need more snacks into the evening, you can go ahead and do that. So those are the weight loss days. We're looking for moderate carbs. We're not going low carb. We're just eating real food, and we're fueling our metabolism with those snacks. We're going to make sure that we drink purified, filtered water, and we're going to stay hydrated. We want to be drinking at least 2 liters throughout the day, and we've got lots of tips to help you to do that. And you'll learn so much about water, and tips to help you keep drinking, right? Cheers. So hydration, really important. Then we go on to the add more food days, which are 29 to 42, and then eventually into maintenance. So what I should have said was add more food days. You're simply going to add more food, and your coach will help you to do that. That's to stabilize your weight and to really reset your body. And then if you're ready to do another cycle, you can go on and do that. or you can go ahead and maintain if you've reached your goal by that point. I mentioned moving. We're going to walk 10 to 15,000 steps a day. We're ideally going to try to get 5,000 in before breakfast because that absolutely powers up your body, gives you so much energy, and really sets you up for the day. And I have people who walk outside. I have people who walk inside because maybe they just can't walk outside. And so, whatever you've got to do to get moving is key. And as I said before, if right now walking 10,000 steps a day seems like a massive ask, we'll start where you are and we'll work up to that. But the great news is you're not going to be doing it by yourself. Your coach will help you. In some cases, they might even walk with you, but then you can plug in and join the community on those walks and talks and get out and walk with all of us from around the world. And hopefully you're going to track those steps in some way, whether it's with a Fitbit or a smartwatch, but you're going to track your steps. And what I found 100% is walking is a great time to listen. It gives me that chance to listen to that daily message, and to really get my thinking straight, not just for that day, but to learn so much more about the program and myself. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to supplement. We're going to take the recommended supplements every day, and we're going to fill those nutritional gaps, making sure we have everything covered. And we use high quality nutritional supplements based on plant concentrates. And if you need more information on what we recommend, and you can ask the person that asked you to watch today, and they'll guide you in the right direction as to what are the best supplements for you. But we do have some foundational ones that we recommend with the program, and as I mentioned earlier, that will fill the nutritional gap that's often missing in today's diets and today's food, because most of it isn't its most nutritious. You only have to think about, you might think, oh yeah, I eat an apple or an orange every day. But you think about that orange, it's been grown somewhere else. For most of us, maybe not the South Africans, but for most of us here in Europe, it's been grown somewhere warm and sunny, right? And then it's been picked before it's ripe. And because it's got to travel, it's normally been sprayed with some kind of chemical to ripen it, and then it sits in a warehouse. Maybe it sits in a truck or a boat for some time, and then it comes to our store. So most of the vitamin C in that orange has been lost because it's just dissipated. So most of us don't get the nutrition that we think we're getting, even if we're eating the things that we're supposed to. So we want to bridge that nutritional gap, and we'll recommend some ways to do that, especially with our incredible products from Nutrilite, because their traceability from seed to supplement is incredible. As I said, most of the products are from plant-based concentrates. So Nutrilite, if you look at a product, and I had one right here and it's disappeared. No, here it is. You look at a product and it has a code on the bottom, and they can trace the ingredients of this bottle of supplements all the way back to the seed that was used to, and where it was planted, that was used to grow the plants that are in this. So they can trace this little bottle of supplementation all the way back to the piece of ground it was grown in. Absolutely incredible. All NSF certified, which means it's safe, it's high quality. And Nutrilite is the world's #1 selling vitamin and dietary supplement brand. And you may never have heard of it, but it is the only one around the world to grow, to harvest and process the plants on their own certified organic farms. So if you're going to fill that nutritional gap, that you're doing it with the best available. So then we're going to talk about thinking, and I mentioned already working on those habits and accountability and the environment. So we're going to make sure that you're connecting with the daily media, and you're going to feed back to your coach about what you loved when you listened to it, and maybe what you've learned. And that's all done in our accountability each day. You're going to track what you eat each day in your daily journal on your app, and you'll be able to be accountable to your coach, giving you that that feeling that you need to make sure that you're sticking to the program, that you're staying on track, because you're going to tell your coach everything that's going on. Then you're going to put yourself into an environment that will support you, and that's in our community. It's on those walks and talks, creating those habits that will change your lifestyle, and just being around other people who are in exactly the same position as you and who've made it work for them and who you can learn from their success. And then we're going to review your progress on a regular basis. So I want to, that is the program. And I want to sort of say to you, maybe this is something that you're looking at. Maybe it's just not for you, and that's okay. But feedback to the person that asked you to watch today, your thoughts, and ask them for some more information, because I'd love to be able to hear your health point story in the future. But I want to introduce you to a really good friend of mine. She has had the most incredible success on the program. She's totally and utterly changed her health through this program. So I want to just introduce Jane to you, because she's going to spend just a few minutes sharing her story with you. And hopefully you'll be inspired and you'll think, well, yeah, I was in the same place as Jane and I could do exactly what she has done. So Jane, would you just take it away and tell us a little bit about your story?
Absolutely. Thank you, Kate. And you've just had an incredible rundown of what this program is about from her. And it's a real privilege to be asked to say something at our very first HealthPointe Explained meeting for the UK, Scandinavia, and South Africa. It's wonderful. My story is fairly simple. I'd done HealthPointe back in 2020. I'd lost a huge amount of weight. I lost 38 kilograms, but the program didn't have any support, and I'm an emotional eater. So, with some health and personal challenges, it went back on again. I also have some mobility issues due to a tumor on my spine, developed fibromyalgia, and latterly type 2 diabetes, something that I can tell you nobody wants to get. I've been on NHS weight management programs, the most depressing thing you could ever be on. Ask me about it when you next see me. Semaglutide pills twice. The first time I got bronchial pneumonia because I wasn't eating at all. And the second time I got daily fibromyalgia attacks. I was incredibly down, not moving well due to the pain and mobility issues, comfort eating, which I just couldn't seem to stop, taking the dog to the park because at least he could run around there and mummy didn't need to walk. I listened to the medical mutterings of bariatric surgery, and when I had to attend the diabetic clinic at the Edinburgh Hospital last August, they wanted to put me on Mounjaro, and that was a flat no from me. What was a godsend in all of this was Kate. She had spoken to me in August, just before I went to the hospital, that HealthPointe was coming back. She was in the middle of doing it herself, being coached by Natalie Dornan, and was having great success. Not only was HealthPointe coming back, but it was coming back with this incredible support system in place. I was pretty desperate, I have to say, because I was fending off the GP and the hospital doctors, but my GP had seen the results before, so she was a little more in favour of it than the hospital was. We got the app in the UK, and start day for a few of us was the 6th of October. I knew the eating program part would work for me because it had done it before. But when I got into the support system, I was completely blown away with the coaching, the encouraging, all the audios giving us information, education, motivation, and inspiration, all coming to you on a daily basis at the very time you seem to need to read to actually really hear it. The whole program, in my opinion, is so brilliantly thought out. As you can imagine, at the beginning, I couldn't physically do the walking, the 10,000 steps a day, nor the 5,000 before breakfast. But I started where I was able to. And I mean, I was on a low base, really low base. And I've built it up from there. Now 10,000 is the norm, and I've hit 5,000 steps before breakfast most days. Not every day, but most days. Then the special part of the program, the international community, the walks and talks, the encouragement from other people, people I didn't even know, the tips they offered to help you, all of which contributes to you not feeling like you are doing this on your own. The program talks about a chemical mindset shift, And not only has my own coach, Natalie Dornan, seen that, but Kate, who is hosting this talk, who's one of my encouragers, and Simona, who's my other encourager, they have seen that change in me. But in turn, I have seen that with those I am now coaching and encouraging. And I can tell you, it is something very special indeed to see it being paid forward and for them to have the success with their health. So, results. What have you all really want to know about, isn't it? Really, you're all sitting there, what have you lost? What have you lost? Well, it's really going well for me, but you have to remember I'm in this for the long haul. I've got a long way to go. But to date, I am 49.7 pounds down. I've just missed that 50, but never mind. 22.5 kilograms, which is wonderful. It's really wonderful. But it's the blood sugar that has been my other driving force. On the HbA1c scale, what has happened to me leaves me a little bit speechless and quite frankly a bit emotional because I've gone from 85 back in August to this week's reading of 36. That's a 49-point drop. And whilst I'll always be classed as diabetic, my bloods now firmly sit in the non-diabetic levels. Not only that, I've had one medication withdrawn within 9 days of starting the program to it being permanently taken away. And the remaining one has now also been reduced. My doctor is happy. And I now have a program for life that I know will help me control my blood sugar. It really is a win, 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 win kind of program. My bloods are down, weight down, brain fog gone, learning up, positivity up, energy up, confidence up. I've never felt hungry. I'm enjoying eating for eating's sake, not comfort's sake. And I've not emotionally eaten once, not once. And yes, while I followed the program to the letter, I'm not particular, not always. I'm not Mrs. Goody Two Shoes, but I've embraced it and learned so much from it. And it's not been plain sailing. I've had some personal traumas going on in the background, but the support of my coach, Natalie, and of Kate has been incredible. Along with the team of those also doing the program, many of those faces I see around the screen tonight. They are part of my success so far. I'm very grateful, very grateful. So that possibly you can see how emotional it is. That possibility of improving your health, not just your physical health, but your mental health as well, is here in your hands tonight. So if you think HealthPointe is something that could help you overcome whatever challenges you may have, or you just want to learn how to be more healthy or how your own body uses fuel, then grab hold of this program and don't let go. Because I can confidently tell you, you will not regret it.
Fabulous. Thanks, Jane. What a story. She's an absolute superstar. She is the true example of how this program can truly change your life. And I can't wait to see the in-person results in February at one of our big events that we'll be holding. So it's an exciting program. So if you're sitting there thinking, okay, that's interesting, I'd like to know more, as I said earlier, connect back with the person that asked you to watch. We have some big events coming up in February where many of you will be able to find out more about the program. But this is not just something for you, this is maybe something for other people too. So whether you're sitting here thinking, maybe it's not for me, but I know who it's for, maybe it's time to pay it forward to them and help them change their lives too. So I'm excited about this. I'm looking forward to many